start of the Silicon Valley. It goes all the way to San Jose, and have towns like Sunnyvale, Palo Alto, Los Gatos, and pretty much the birthplace of microchip and now, of course, full of computer technology. I have come to America to see an old friend. My stories of Asian expats have brought me across the North American continent to the area of gold nuggets, earthquakes, and silicon dreams. The area around San Francisco, known simply as the Bay Area. I'm heading towards Norio's villa in Portola Valley, situated in the back hills of another high-tech bastion, Stanford University. The road now becomes narrower as we go up the hill, and Norio's villa is situated up in the hill. I still remember the coat from last time. You can tell how wealthy a person is by the distance from the gate to the main house. Norio's house is a few kilometers from the gate. This used to belong to a newspaper tycoon, Randolph Hearst. Now, of course, parts of it belong to a Japanese millionaire. Norio Sugano is in fact one of the earliest pioneers of Silicon Valley. Ah, here we are. Norio!
Oh, yeah.
How have you been?
All right, pretty good.
You look good.
Oh, you too.
I have too much white hair.
Yes,
Look
I
at
can
my white
see it.
hair.
Look at mine, not too bad, huh?
Not too bad, not too bad. Did you dye your hair? You didn't
No
dye your hair,
way.
did you?
No, of course not.
In a previous life, I was a systems engineer, and Norio an electrical engineer. Our paths crossed here in Silicon Valley in the 70s, both foreign students. The winters are relatively mild in San Francisco, but cold enough for a good wood fire. It's reassuring to know that the man who introduced robotic automation to the US still believes in doing some things manually. Our student backgrounds are not unlike the millions of Asians who come to America each year for higher education. They jumpstart their futures with American degrees and hopefully stay on to live the American dream. Norio's American dream, though, far exceeds the average.
We call it music room.
Okay.
It's after dinner. Everybody sit down and talk. And this has a secret door you may recognize or not.
Yes. It goes to one of the bedrooms.
Right.
Ah, this is a smoking room.
Yes, and also these are the wines we made here. This is not for sale, for our own consumption.
Oh, this is your own wine.
Right,
Ah,
right,
okay.
right. Winemaking is to really enjoy the process.
Norio built his wealth by being in the right place at the right time. His timing for other things in life, though, is a bit unconventional. Learning the piano at 44, marrying at nearly 50. His wife, Leah, a university professor, spent most of the school term in Oregon. So the property keeps him company.
So here, vineyard and wine production. And also these are the lavender plants.
Right.
We make lavender oil here. And my wife's that keeps bees there, so we do have honey production as well.
America in the 70s and 80s was like a beehive, attracting the best brains from Asia, incubating them with scholarships, letting them reach their fullest potential. Norio received a graduate student scholarship to the University of Wisconsin.
I left Japan 1975 because I was 23 years old. After University of Wisconsin, I came to Stanford with another scholarship and went on to another graduate school.
So this is looking over Silicon Valley.
Yes, that you see Palo Alto,
Okay.
Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, San Jose. If you go a little bit up, you can see San Francisco as well.
And beyond that is the Pacific Ocean, the largest body of water on Earth, and the most direct link between Asia and America. On the Ocean of Peace, major theaters of war took place in the past, and with it, resulting waves of Asian immigration into the United States of America. Once onshore, how many of us lose our way? How many get caught up with the lure of dollars and cents and forget the real meaning of life? Interstate 280 is a road to San Jose, the heart of Silicon Valley. The road that took many to mega wealth with their high-tech adventures. But this morning, as I ride with Sam Orr and his wife Haji, I realize it is also the road to Korean Town.
장모님.
우리 어머니, 친정어머니.
Sam and Haji came to the Bay Area from Seoul more than 30 years ago, predating the birth of the personal computer.
안녕하세요, 사장님. 예.
A university scholarship turned Sam's life around, from a $2 an hour job at a car wash to top dollars as a corporate accountant.
비내떡 안 먹지 오늘.
These days, they live their lives in quiet retirement with down-to-earth goals. Today's objective is cabbage.
I buy like 50 pounds each month, I think. I make a kimchi for church every week. So I take one jar every week. And then I give it to my sister.
Lunch is at a typical Korean fast food place. Here, acquaintances old and new exchange news, almost always in Korean.
He's my high school Korean teacher. When he came to United States as an immigrant, I didn't know that. And then he moved into this Bay Area, so that's why I met him. But this is a very fortunate I met him in this restaurant. So it's very nice.
50 years on, Sam Orr still holds the respect for his old school teacher. This reunion would not have taken place had Sam been successful at what he once tried to do. Once, Sam tried to kill himself. The San Francisco Bay is lovely if you can see it. On most winter mornings, a heavy fog blankets the view, a result of the confluence of cold Pacific waters mixed with the heat of the Californian desert. Added to this mix is the confluence of cultures and technology. What happens to the individual in this melange? I turn to my friends, the Asian expats. Norio has invited me to his yacht. Sailing is a hobby that he developed growing up in Japan. Sailing is totally alien to me.
You sure you're letting me do this?
No problem. There is a very shallow spot over there.
Oh, I better avoid that.
Lena, you know
So I keep watching this, right,
there's a
Norio?
shallow spot.
They're 65 feet now.
Don't worry.
Norio is a product of post-war Japan, a time when the material life first confronts the spiritual. I get the feeling that he is reliving the confluence of that time.
Very interesting timing because my parents are, after the war, struggling time to secure the family and make sure that the kids are growing okay. But my grandparents, they are born in the Meiji era, heavily cultured, educated, and knowing the arts and enjoying more life. So I was looking at the both adult grandparents and the father, see what kind of life I can conduct when I grow up.
The San Francisco Bay Area has a population of 7 million people, with San Jose as the largest city and home to many who worked in Silicon Valley. Sam and Haji's lifestyle, though, are not dependent on high-tech wealth. Their house in San Jose is rich with old-fashioned stories, music, and traditional Korean recipes.
Called japchae, like a Korean traditional noodle dish.
While Haji shared her recipes, Sam shared snippets of his life in Korea and his first job as a hi-fi sales executive. His workday was 12 hours.
And then I drink every night. And when I get home, I got drunk.
This is shredded radish. I'm making kimchi for the church. I make like every week.
So somehow, I ended up with an idea saying, I'm not going to live long. I'm going to live short.
A big jar, but this is a Korean traditional jar. But I'm going to put it in there today. And then I'm going to put some pepper. This is pepper from the Korea.
So I bought all the sleeping pill. I don't know how many, lots, okay? So then I took them.
This is, I got from my garden. We call minari.
They took me to the hospital. I was stay there, I think, about a couple of nights or something like that. And then they come back home. I think I was sleeping by almost about 3-4 days, and then I survived. But yeah, that's what happened. Yeah.
This is persimmon, ripe persimmon.
Then I was thinking, maybe I should change my life. So that was about 1972. So I told mother. At that time, my mother was in the United States. She said, yes, I'm going to go to the United States. So that's why I came to the United States in 1972, in February, yes, in 1972.
This is we call winter kimchi, tong kimchi. Tong means whole.
Came to the United States, extended my life. I mean, that's one thing I'm sure that.
I like my old traditional kimchi, made with my hand and feed my family. That's what I enjoy, how cooking, making kimchi. My husband, can you bring me a plate?
It's a Korean traditional rice cake.
Like the kimchi, the Korean feast takes a long time in the making, as with human lives. A life story is a series of little snapshots of experiences that gives meaning to the overall picture. From car wash attendant to cook at McDonald's to night janitor and college student, then a scholarship to university, and finally, Sam became an accountant for a large defense contractor. In America, Sam acquired a musical asset. He learned to play the guitar. Though other cities around have outgrown it in population, the city of San Francisco still anchors the Bay Area. Like its streets, the city's fortune has had its ups and downs and ups. Gold rush, earthquakes, huge fires, countercultures, the high-tech boom, and the high-tech bust. Today, it remains the focal point of much of arts, culture, and tourism in the area.
Driving in San Francisco also takes some getting used to.
Up and down. This is the place I stay.
Gang Si-tu was teaching music composition in Shanghai when he received a scholarship in 1985 to further his studies. He lives in a cramped, rent-controlled home in downtown San Francisco.
The place I lived is very close to the civic center or the cultural event, concert, convenient. I just take a bus. I don't have to drive, so it's convenient. This is my wife, Lily.
How are you? We're here very proud, especially in San Francisco.
Gang and Lily have sacrificed their material well-being for a more meaningful and artistic existence. They are founders of a non-profit dance company through which they explore new worlds. The couple met in America and discovered their mothers knew each other back in China. Small world.
When I go with dance company, I just like a road manager. I'm a driver, suitcase carrier. This is all female company, so I'm only the man. So I do all the dirty work, they don't do it.
On this day, with time running out, Lily had to be handled gently. The troupe leaves for Kansas in 3 days. They have rented the studio for the day, and there is barely an hour left to go.
Tammy, we need to watch time. 完全要走，不能看啊，哈？ Okay, do a whole thing. You just review whole thing, please. Because once you need to leave. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can edit it. Yeah, okay. Because I do not, we have very, very limited time. Just do it. From top.
One of the iconic figures of San Francisco is the cable car, the world's oldest manually operated system. These days, it functions as a tourist attraction, taking visitors to other tourist attractions like Chinatown, also America's oldest.
This place I lived close to Chinatown, I don't have to worry about my eating.
The city is a majority of the minority. Less than 44% of its population is Caucasian, and less than 39% born in America. In this global culture, it is easy to lose yourself. Almost too easy to go with the flow.
Actually, I'm Cantonese, but I just don't speak Cantonese. I'm SBC.
Shanghai-born Cantonese.
I just speak English to them.
In the late 80s, the art scene in Chinatown did not reflect personal aspirations. It was used to earn tourist dollars. Gang realized this and moved out into the mainstream. He received an Arts Council grant, which established his career in America. At the place where US Marines used to take off to the theaters of war in the Pacific, Gang and Lily now have a small office, a low-cost rental for nonprofit arts groups.
In the software, like instrument library, they don't have the Chinese instrument library. So I have to use the other things instead. If I want to write erhu, I have to use the violin, the drums, I have to use the other things.
But being in the mainstream comes at a price. It's harder to make your voice heard and understood. This is what Gang grapples with, along with the daily errands for the dance company and the one-couple family. In the region fueled by computer technology, Gang found a perfect medium for his composition. All he needs now is to find his inner voice.
I think technology to make a lot of things easier. The only thing is artistic choice. You mix them up, just like a cooking. Testing it, you make different recipe, and the music the same thing.
I'm having very serious problem with so-called success. That the success being used here in the Silicon Valley is really monetary, materialistic way so much. I get really nervous somebody classify me that way, because that was not my intention.
If you Google Norio Sungano, you'll find him active in voluntary work and as a patron of the arts. In his office, you'll find him incubating new talents. That perhaps is his way of putting meaning to to his material success. Thanks to arts grants and commissioned works, Gang is slowly finding his way around. His music today is the scenic backdrop for Lily's dances, a fusion of East and West, the traditional and the avant-garde.
I'm Chinese American. I always speak English with Chinese accent, just like music. And whatever you do, something in your blood, you can't change it.
These days, Sam and Haji are grappling with another new world. He can't talk yet, but can count quite well.
No, say. 2, 3, 3, 4, 6.
Their daughter married a Chinese American, and the grandmothers have a kind of Sino-Korean arrangement.
1 week 2 days, and other week 2 to 3 days a week. Yeah, we split. So the Chinese grandma come and she sing Chinese, song, and I teach him Korean song, and so yeah, each time it's different.
After years of self-destruction in Korea and a gradual reconstruction in America, Sam finally found a true meaning to his life. In America, Sam all became a Christian. As for Norio, the most materially successful of all my friends, the search for meaning goes on.
I've been struggling last 5 years, what kind of lifestyle I would enjoy. And the one thing coming to clear to me, it's going to be a big change, but the idea of living light.
As I look out to the Pacific Ocean, away from the humdrum city life, I realize Norio is not alone.